Hello everyone, my name is Keirdan, Audio Dread Jenson, owner of Studio Dread LLC, and welcome to my second devlog for my newly announced game Badda-SS, a horror charcoal sketch style shooter. It's been about 2 weeks since my first devlog and a lot of progress has been made. I decided to get a decent chunk of the demo done before making another devlog because I wanted to show off some real progress. So if you look in the bottom left corner, you can see there is a new UI menu with a nice little portrait of the player, as well as some status bars. You have ammo and health. You can also see I've got a model for the gun, and we have a custom character controller put together with some breathing and some head bob and whatnot. So that's all looking pretty good. The gun is just a simple pistol design. I went for very low poly, mainly because I'm not very good at anything else. You can see I've got a nice shoot animation, reload animation, and also this melee. I am not completely sold on this melee animation, mainly because it looks like it should have sort of an AoE since it's swiping across the screen, and it does not. I don't want it to. I'm thinking I might turn it into more of a stab motion. The point of the melee is mainly to balance resource management, as ammo will be pretty limited. You won't get it as often as you're using it, and I want the combat to overall be a little more tense. I don't want there to be a way to just easily mow through a wave of enemies. It should be more tense, more horror-esque, more suspenseful, so I like having the kind of limitation to the melee. But since it's not entirely clear by this animation that it's only aiming towards the center of the screen, I think I'll probably replace it. As you can see, I've got this nice spark effect when you hit walls, as well as some bullet hole decals, which is a nice little detail that I like putting in my games. Not all indie devs do, but I think it's a fun thing to have. Additionally, I have set up AI and pathfinding for the monster that I showed off last time. He can now chase after you, and I've got this nice little spawn animation that I'll show off a little more later. He will chase after you. He will attack when he gets a certain distance away. The pathfinding is just using the Unity nav mesh. He can navigate his way around walls and find the quickest way towards the player. This is planned to be sort of the tanky enemy, so he's a little on the slow side. He's pretty easy to avoid. I've additionally gotten some nice blood VFX in, which stain the environment, and I've got this custom vignette that wraps around your screen as you take damage, and there's also respawning, obviously. And so now let's show off some combat. I'm just going to spawn in an enemy here. Right now I just have a placeholder spawn controller which spawns in an enemy at a random location when I hit space. Obviously for the full prototype there will be waves and whatnot that happen on their own. I'm just going to bring in a bunch of these guys. There are critical points on the enemies, in this case the head. If you hit the body, it does less damage, and it also has a different death animation, so I will show that one off first. As you can see there, it just kind of explodes. The bodies and the bloodstains are also persistent. For the most part, the VFX has a limit for how long the lifetime can be. And then, as you can see, there's a separate animation for the crit, which is honestly my favorite animation in the game so far. It's super cheesy and silly and over the top, but it's also really fun and brutal in its own way. There's the knife as well. All of these stains are persistent up to a long time. And then there's a 1 in 3 chance that goodies will drop. In this case, it was ammunition. It can be ammunition or health. Once again, the drop rate is fairly low because I want you to have to melee sometimes. One of the goals with this is for it to not be a total hero shooter. You want it to be tense. I don't personally enjoy horror games with a lot of combat most of the time, but this is a situation where I think it works really well. It just needs to have that aspect of resource management to keep the intensity up and keep it feeling like you have to be careful with your use of ammunition. And I'm just spawning in a ton of these guys to show off that their AI system also has the capability of friendly fire. As you can see, they're hitting each other, and when they do, there's a chance that they will get pissed off at each other and just fight amongst themselves. And that is a 1 in 4 chance for every time a monster gets hit that it will aggro onto whatever hit it. So that's a 1 in 4 chance that they will aggro onto each other, and a 1 in 4 chance that they will aggro back onto you if you're attacking ones that are fighting each other. As you can see, these guys are pretty easy to lead around. My plan is to have 3 more enemies added into the game. I want to have a flying enemy, I want to have a ranged enemy, and I want to have an enemy that's just another ground one that chases after you, but that's smaller and quicker. These guys are more just bullet sponges, and so they're pretty easy to skirt around, but if you have a ton of these and some guys that are a little more quick and deal a little damage a little easier, they kind of got confused for a second. Their hitboxes are a little janky, so when they attack each other, they sometimes have a hard time. So that's another thing thing that needs to be worked on. This is the majority of the combat system done. We have health packs, we have ammo pack, we have all of the VFX and visuals that we need. Next up, I will be adding in the 3 new enemies, taking care of any bugs, and of course, setting up a full wave system. And then beyond that, it's just music, sound effects, UI menus, settings, all of that fun stuff. Pretty much final touches, and the demo will be ready to put out. However, if you would like to play this build of the game, it is currently available on my Patreon. Link is in the description. If you subscribe to my Patreon at any tier, then you will get access to all early access dev builds, including this one, and tiers start at only $3 a month, so for as little as $3 you can go and play this right now, and it will help me out a lot. I would love to be able to work on these games full time, and the more Patreon support that I get, the closer I am to being able to achieve that goal. So even if you only subscribe for a month to try this one game, $3, every little bit is appreciated. And that is all I have for this devlog. If you would like to continue following the development of this game as well as my other games, please be sure to subscribe as I post regular progress updates and also have some tutorials planned for the future. Otherwise, I have been Keirdan Audio Dread Jenson, and I will see you in the next one.